You need to click. All right, team. This is a long time coming after the draft. This is the Everly judginess of your draft picks and your draft team. We had a great draft day at Kyle's. The sun was shining, the cornhole was going. QB 54 was going down. The food, as always, at Kyle's house is amazing. Right. And yes, of course, we had a draft that day. And Neal and I are here to judge you for your efforts.
With
Uh,
100% accuracy, of course.
of course. Of course, just like we did accuracy with those the keeper picks that Steve's already given me shit about. Uh, Uh,
It's
so so how we did the judginess and the order of the draft is two-time champ. So we can't really argue with him. Ian put all the draft picks, I think it was into PFF, Pro Fantasy Football, I think, I don't know, the draft app, and it came out with the worst to first order on how all you wannabes did in this draft. So Neal and I this is right before the games on Sunday, the first Sunday of the football year. We're here to chop it up, deconstruct it, maybe make you laugh, maybe make you cry. Mostly, we want to make you shit talk us for shit talking you. Okay. So Neal's going to take the island division and chop that up. I'm going to take the mainland, okay, the Vancouver Mounties. He's got the island ferries. But then we can't do our own team, so Neal's going to take my team. I'm going to take his. Neal, what were the three items that we're kind of judging these guys on here?
Well, we're gonna start with their biggest reach throughout the draft, and then we follow that up with what was it, the best value, and then after that we'd be looking at their dark horse to finish the season.
Yeah, cool. Right. So I might have those in different order than you, but we get the same idea. Okay, so I think the best thing we can do right now is we can start from our worst and go to our first, and let's just I mean I got the first one. I think you got the second one, right? So I get to jump in with Chris McKay at 14th place here. Not sure how he drafted a team at the bottom of the list. Oh yeah. He didn't show up and we got to make his picks for him. So excellent, Chris. Thank you for donating to the league again this year. Chris is I went with the reach guy first, and Chris, you just shouldn't draft a guy who just blew his knee to bits the year before. I got Nick Chubb in this pick. Um, and
Wait. Didn't Nick Chubb just squat 500 pounds?
Oh yeah. Okay, so your reach, your biggest reach here, and your worst pick, what I call it reach worst pick, is Nick Chubb. He could also be your best pick by the end of the year. Uh, I feel like if it's week 10 and Nick Chubb is finally going in, he might. I mean, is that not one of the best O lines in the league?
Yeah, it's number two actually on
Yeah.
PFF, I think.
Yeah, so it's one of the best lines in the league. So you've got that guy. We see that you have gone and stashed him on IR. Excellent work. And went and picked somebody else up. Did he pick up the backup? No, somebody else grabbed.
I don't know who he
No,
picked.
he got Chubbard. I think he went and got Chubbard on the
I don't think
waivers.
he got.
Okay, so
He ended up spending $14 on him right
yeah,
up out of the
yeah.
bat, which is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, dark horse, your dark horse guy, bud. Mackay, I got you as DK Metcalf. I mean, we all know how scary this guy can be. And I really believe that Pete Carroll's held this team back, the receivers back for years and years. Ryan Grubb's the new OC. He had one of the most high-flying gunslinging offenses in the college football. He's now the OC of the Seahawks. But this is going to come down to Geno for you. And Geno's pretty accurate, but I don't know if he's got that gunslinger mentality. And then your best value, Chris, is Matthew Stafford in round 7. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted that guy. I had him in line to pick. You picked him 2 picks ahead of me. I was yelling and screaming. You weren't there. I was swearing at everybody. You weren't even at the draft, and you sniped me.
I think you said change it, change it. Who cares about that bastard? Is what you
I
said.
did. I was trying to get you guys to pick somebody else. Uh, And then Chris, when they saw that I didn't want that, that sealed the deal for them. So they put that guy in there for you. Look at who this guy is thrown to. 2 years ago, he had one of the top receivers in the league. Okay, and then last year he had the guy who put up the rookie record. So
It's a good
300,
combination. It's a good
yeah,
combination.
300 yards per game is not off this guy's radar, and that hits our QB bonus. So I think you're really set up with him as your main QB, and yeah, good on you. Final thoughts on this team for me, Neal. Did you have anything before I get into that? No.
No, I think the dice did a good job on this one, and everybody, took their turns on Chris. So I think
Yeah.
it'll be a lucky thing if he can make the playoffs this year. We'll see what happens.
I final thoughts for me on this team. Chris, I hear you complaining about us picking you guys like Nick Chubb. I see you making moves, hitting the waiver wire, spending some money, trying to rally this bottom feeder of a team. So basically, I see you flapping your wings a lot here. Okay, and but mostly what we know is no matter how hard they flap their wings, chickens can't fly, bud. And this is a chicken team for me. So
We kind of threw the chicken off the cliff. He could fly for a little bit, though.
yeah. So here you are, and there you are, number 14. Neal, I think you're taking us to number 13, are you not?
Yeah, so it looks like number 13 is Noob. So it looks like Justin went pretty heavy on the wideouts here. First 3 rounds, in fact. Very balanced way of drafting. I can see the dude doing more deals than Jeffrey Epstein. All the boys will be lining up at Noob Island for a deal. I can hear Kyle tearing.
Yeah, Kyle's coming in hot.
Yeah, I can hear him tearing open the condom already. Hold on. Kyle doesn't use protection when he trades with Noob. His biggest reach for me was Caleb Williams. I was a little bit pissed because I wanted to draft him. So fuck you, Justin. Best value taken for me was McBride in the 4th. I feel like, he should be a top 3 tight end producer this year.
So fall into the 4th actually is, yeah, that is really good value. Like I can't
really good
argue with
value.
that.
The Cardinals should surprise this year. So he's got a good piece there. And going into the dark horse, I picked Tajay Spears. He should gobble up a ton of targets in the struggling Titans team. So I think Noob has some pieces. He's going to be trading a lot. He's going to be doing a lot of deals, like I said. So everybody line up and see what they can get out of him.
Excellent. Yeah,
brother, do you have anything to say on
yes.
team?
Well, it's a thing that coming in at 13 here, often pretty much every year Justin likes to come in and set the bar low, and then he likes to kind of stay there. So you know, like here you are again, Justin, number 13. It'd be great if you'd get a title, get that monkey off your back, but I don't think it's this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, weirder things have happened. So, I mean, I guess he always says that he makes the playoffs every year, and I'll be surprised if it happens this year.
Yeah. So we're coming into the next team. That team is Nathan Potty's team. I mean Mark's team. So there you were during the draft, Mark, and we drafting good players, which you usually don't do. And it took us a while to figure out what the hell was going on. And you were staring at your phone, and then we realized your kid was picking your team for you. So I hope you get to share this judginess with your kid. I think your team, actually, I look at it, I think it should be higher on the list than 12. Nathan drafted a good team here, but there are a few holes, and maybe that's why you're falling apart in the PFF grade or whatever the heck it is. Okay, so Nathan's reach, and where where I think maybe things kind of fell apart a little bit is his running backs in rounds 2 and 3. Running back. Yeah, after Amon-Ra, it kind of leaves you a little light in the loafers with your wide receivers because they were flying off the board. Okay, Flowers and Christian Watson as your next two. Those will be hit and miss every week. So I think we saw what Flowers does and what Christian Watson does because they've already played, and they're going to be okay. Your dark horse, for me, I really like this guy. I bet you my brother does too. We haven't even talked about it, but Trey Benson, round 8. This guy is 6 feet, 216 pounds, runs a 4.39 40. I actually kind of just went through and looked at his college highlights. Holy shit. If Connor goes down and goes out for a few weeks, which he always does, this guy will probably get a chance to actually show us what he's made of. And he did that in the preseason. So yeah.
Yeah,
Best
that could be a good one there.
best value for me is Deontay Johnson, round 7. Secretly, now this is where the value comes in. Secretly stacked with Bryce Young. Bam. Okay, Bryce Young was this is one of the best receivers in the league. We all know that. I don't think anybody can argue with that. Paired with a number 1 pick QB, who they surrounded with a better O-line this year. And
Second year quarterback takes the biggest jump, brother.
And last year, Bryce Young's best receiver was Adam Thielen. And he did really well for 6-7 weeks?
He did, yeah. He did amazing at the start of the season.
So this could be a good combo sleeper pick QB. Good job, Nathan. Really, really well done. Your dad put the stickers on the board. He did pretty good at that. He didn't let you down. Okay, so final thought on the team. You're coming in at number 12 here. I feel like this is already the most improved team on the year. And I just mean when you're starting this low, there's only one way to go, and that's up. And let's see if those early running backs and your dark horse players can actually get the Potty boys to a championship this year. That'd be nice to see. So
the only thing I have to say about this team is poor Nathan ended up with Dalton Schultz. I think that was his dad's pick, so that's a bit of a glaring hole there. Nathan, you might want to hit the waiver wire.
Don't hit the waiver wire on tight end too early. I'll be on it this week for sure. Neal, I think you are up with the next one.
Yeah. So we have number 11 here. It's Garry. You know, when your tall friend is getting a bald spot and nobody notices it until he,
Like, oh, like Brian Bell.
yeah, but then he sits down and you see it, a giant crop circle right where his quarterback should be.
Oh,
The best moment was during the draft was watching Gary's face when he realized he didn't draft a quarterback. I mean, he's got Deshaun Watson, and I think he's got
the
Russell
Pittsburgh,
Wilson,
the
who's
Pittsburgh QBs, and I don't think either one of them are starting, the Pittsburgh guys. I think they're both injured. Like
yeah, they're just
Justin Fields has a calf strain as well as Russell Wilson. Like, Jesus.
they're both in boots.
Yeah.
Um, he's got a lot of old guys, so I think overall the trouble will come later in the season for Garry because old people don't do well in the cold weather. Uh, I think
They
the
fade
biggest
off. They
what's
fade
that?
off later. They fade off later in the year too.
Yeah, things start going wrong. The biggest reach I think for Garry was Stefan Diggs in round 3. You know, give me Rice or Flowers or even Higgins before that. Now I know he had a bad week 1, but I still think his best value is Andrews in the 4th. You should have a huge year with a powerful Ravens team. Don't give up on him yet, Garry. I know you're panicking.
No,
Um,
you can drop him, Gary. That's fine, man. Totally.
yeah, he actually ran more routes than Isaiah Likely, but we just see all the highlights, right, and get excited. Uh, and the dark horse for me is Raheem Mostert. If he can stay healthy, he will get the goal line
He's
carries
a
for
beast.
Miami, and it'll pay off massively for a 6th rounder. So there's hope for Gary Venn. Not much of it, but I think with some good moves, you know, maybe he
Yeah,
can get there.
this is like I look at kind of what he drafted and the mistakes he made at quarterback and stuff like that. And I gotta say, like the Pedialyte and Tylenol brunch that Gary must have had to have the next day, because Gary, you must have been drunk during this draft, and your hangover must have been atrocious, bud. Because
One too
like
many margaritas
you
on
won
the
too many margaritas, man. Because holy, and you're coming in ahead of like Potty. So I don't actually know how that happened, but there you are. Even with Deshaun Watson, the uh, God, that guy and his massage therapist, right? So
He's a
yeah,
creep. He's a creep. It's
yeah.
terrible.
Are we moving on here?
Yeah, that's
Okay, we're moving on to the replacements, and he really was actually a replacement for us. Matt, we called in Matt at the last hour, the 11th hour, and even though he was on the island and probably could have made the draft, I'm not really sure what happened there, but people ran into him in the store like you were right there. But anyways, so Matt stepped in. We put him on Zoom.
say again.
Uh,
Say again.
Matt,
He was actually on the island.
yeah, he was. Don't you know that guys ran into him? Guys actually
No,
who had never met him.
no.
Mark, and a bunch of them ran into him. Yeah. So, anyways, we
I'm
zoomed him in.
confused.
I know. It's okay. We zoomed him in, and yeah, there he was. And I thank you for stepping in, Matt. But I want to apologize also for your video liaison that kind of drifted off there around round 7. Uh, you had to listen really closely because I don't think I was repeating anything to you. I was busy staring at the trees and the clouds. Um, so you did pretty good. You came in at 10th. and your biggest reach was your running backs rounds 3 and 4. You went Lamb out of the gate, then you went Allen, but then you went bang bang running back, and so out of the first 4 rounds, you only grabbed one wide receiver. uh, so after that, you have Keon Coleman and Jacoby Myers at wide receiver. Okay. But that actually leads me to my next player for you, which is your dark horse, which is Courtland Sutton in round 11. What? This is your dark horse. This is like a wide receiver 1. I do not know how this dude fell to round 11. It's probably because I was staring at the trees that were shimmering in the light. But this guy actually might prop up your wide receiver room here, because those other 2 guys aren't going to do it. So there you are.
I have a nickname for Matt's team. I call it the pocket holder. If you don't know what a pocket holder is, Google prison slang.
Oh God. Okay. All right. We got to his Matt's best value. Thank you for that visual, Neal.
You're welcome.
I don't even know where the fuck you came up with that. Best value on Matt's team. I'm actually gonna go with his first pick, CeeDee Lamb. You did the smartest thing right here, and you drafted one of the best wide receivers in the league. You didn't mess around, and he's the only wide receiver on that team. Who else is Dak throwing to? A white, slow tight end?
Hey, his name's Ferguson.
Yeah, his name is Ferguson. We do appreciate that. And who's the other wide receiver? The older dude, right?
Brandon Cooks, I think.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks. Oh, Neal's screen froze again, but I'll keep talking. And so I think you got the best wide receiver in the league right there. He's got his contract. He's happy. Final thought on this team for me, unless you've got something else, Neal. I think you took the the pocket holder thing. I think you nailed it right there. I don't think we need to go.
Yeah, the only thing I will say is I had Rachaad White last year, and God, he was horrible in the efficiency. If you watch him run, he's just running into the back of his old line, and he'll get a lot of volume, but Jesus Christ, don't watch him play. Whatever you do, you just accept the stats that he gets and just go from there. Don't watch any of the games.
Yeah.
That's my final thought.
Yeah, and I think with Josh Allen, and I mean, listen to this. Josh Allen and CeeDee Lamb. Okay, you're in 10th right now. But I don't need to put on like a tinfoil hat and come up with a conspiracy theory for you to actually make the playoffs in your first year. I really don't. I just want to say welcome to the league, Matt. You went smart. You got 2 cornerstones right out of the gate or whatever, and here you are. Thank you for coming in. So I actually have to go right up again, and with 9th overall here, and I would never rank my brother this low in a draft ever. My brother could pick the shittiest team, and I would never rank him this low because it's not good for family harmony. So
it's bad for Christmas.
It is really bad for Christmas. So I am so thankful that some elite, like dialed in, knows what they're talking about, computer program, put him at 9th, and it wasn't me.
So that's fine. We'll see how it works out.
And I want to go with your reach. I'm going to go with your reach here, and I'm just going to say your wide receivers, all of them. Pittman round 2, I totally get why you did it. I mean, there was room to play with in the rounds, but then you stacked them with the with his quarterback
Anthony Richardson.
Richardson. Yeah, but round two is definitely a little early for Pittman, but the stack was coming. Then you waited for the next one all the way to round 7. That's a long way. It's really too bad you didn't keep Rasheed Rice. With 9 targets.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I was waiting for that. Fuck.
with 9 targets in
That's that's okay, brother. In week 4, when he runs over a baby on the sidewalk, he'll be hunting for some more wide receivers. The guy is not a very smart lad.
Bro, the other guys don't get to rebuttal, the whole time as we go through on this, like.
Oh, right. Sorry. Go ahead. Carry on.
Which leads me to your dark horse, actually, which is your receiving is going to be actually, and I can't even pick out individuals on your team. Your dark horse is going to be your tight end room. Kincaid is your keeper, and then you came in and you stacked him with Pitts, and Pitts is usually the Pitts, but I think we're all thinking that he's going to rock and roll with Kirk Cousins this year. Well, everybody's thinking that. There's nobody who's not thinking that. He's an elite specimen of an athlete. You got Kincaid. Who else is Allen throwing to? You know what I mean? Like, I think I picked somebody else later, but the Kincaid's just gonna the kink is gonna get all the fucking kinky targets, I'm gonna say. My value for you, bro, is Herbert in round 8. You've got a great backup QB there. What happened? That's all I'm gonna say. This used to be one of the hottest QBs in the league and a top pick. Now, like, I get it, everybody thinks they're gonna run. Okay. With the coaches that they have. Those coaches also didn't have Justin Herbert as their QB. Okay. They've never had Justin Herbert. Like, go through those coaches and what they've had in the past. You have QB Richardson that could actually win you the league. He could win you the league. Or we could all find out that little sample size that we had last year was just a joke. And then you've still got this great QB as your backup. So, bro, the biggest weakness I see on your team, obviously, is your wide receiver room. And if you can make chicken salad out of chicken shit with that, then you're going to have an awesome team. So there we are. Those are my thoughts on yours. Any final thoughts on your team or anything like that?
No, I shouldn't be rebuttaling anything, so I'm just gonna step back and let the analysis sink in.
Okay, excellent. I think you got the next one, bro.
Yeah. So the next guy is Steve. Let's be honest, Steve's still in the league because we haven't found his replacement yet.
Fair enough.
But I do have to admit, the AI program he used had a good draft. Let's give a slow clap for the computer. A horse can win the race without a rider. I've seen it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I had a hard time picking a hole in the team that he's got, but there's one big one. And the biggest reach was Austin Eckler in the 7th. I feel like there was too much talent left on the board to draft the bag of bones. He could have gone anywhere else. I just don't think the guy has anything left in the tank. But flipping the coin, the best value on the same team is Terry McLaurin in the 6th, who finally gets a decent QB who can chuck it deep. You know, I think
Aren't
Terry
those
Floyd,
guys on the same team?
yeah,
Oh, he
they're
doubled
both
down,
Redskins.
he doubled down, it's Commanders, by the way. He doubled down on, Washington. Interesting. Okay.
It could be risky. It could be risky, but I still like Terry. He just hasn't had any talent at QB, and now he finally gets it. So I'd be surprised if he got anything less than 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. So really good pick there. AI. Dark horse for Steve is Geno Smith. He had a rough
Ah,
year last year, uh, but his offensive line last year was Swiss cheese. So he gets a new offensive coordinator. He's got a ton of weapons, and I think sky's the limit for the Seahawks this year. And it pains me, hurts my soul to say that, but I'd be surprised if they don't challenge the San Francisco 49ers for the top of the division this year.
yeah, and I actually don't, that defense, I know they brought in a defensive coach, but they lost a lot of their like linebackers and stuff like that. And they do have some good pieces. I have a feeling that Geno's going to have to be slinging it to keep up to the other team. And Geno is accurate, and like you already said, like name another wide receiver trio. Like there's some, like you get like a duo of like Tyreek and Waddle, but you're talking about one, two, three. You got Lockett, you got JSN, and then you got the big man himself, Metcalf, right? So and that tight end is pretty sneaky too. But like he's a little older, and he's gonna have to carry that Seahawks team. So I can totally agree with you on that. That you said dark horse pick, right?
Their defense is a bit young, but they have a lot of talent in the defensive back room.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really high on the Seahawks this year. Um, so good draft, artificial intelligence. Way to
Yeah,
pick off the computer, Steve.
yeah, Steve. The only thing I have to say is one man's trash is another man's fantasy team, bro. So there you are. Good job, Steve. Let's see how you do this year. And like you called me out, like, hey, Jaden Reed, if you called me out for giving you a bad ranking on your keeper pick there. It's when Malik Willis is throwing Jaden Reed the ball, I'm sure he's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Too bad about that leg.
I think you're up again, bro.
Oh, okay.
With Brian, late night
Yeah,
wanderers coming in here, coming in strong,
coming in
right?
hot. Late night
Yeah,
wanderer, number 7. I like to call his draft the drunk driver. Let's say Bell goes out and he's had a few drinks and he tells everyone, I'm totally fine. I'll take the back roads.
yeah.
Nine times out of 10, he should make the promised land, but he's taking a big chance putting all those starters in the Eagles basket there. It's a good basket, but still a bit of a chance. Now, not only that, when Brian Bell gets pulled over, he's got 3 hookers in the car. Brian's probably saying to himself, hookers, that sounds like a good night. But just like hookers, rookies are a fun ride until you have to burn off the rotten meat a few weeks later. There is a lot of risk
Ooh.
on this team. It's the riskiest team I see. So I think,
Okay, and I hear you too. Okay. And with the rookies and stuff like that on Brian's team. But this is the team where I can actually follow the freaking breadcrumbs, and I'm getting to the candy house. Okay. Like I can see that. I can see what he did. It is risky. I think he's taken the one guy and put him on IR. And is it risky or is it smart, or is Brian playing for next year?
Yeah, but you follow
Is he playing for next year because he gets that rookie contract?
yeah, you followed the you remember what happened to those kids when they followed the candy into the house? Didn't the witch throw them in the oven?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it ended well.
All right.
Um, so as far as I'm concerned, the biggest reach here was Cole Kmet. I don't think he should have been drafted. I don't see, what is he like fourth or fifth on the team in targets?
Yeah,
And
there's some pretty heavy wide receivers. And by heavy I mean Keenan Allen coming in at 230 pounds.
yeah,
There's some pretty heavy
yeah,
wide receivers in front of this guy, right? And
yeah.
that
There's
could be an issue.
yeah, it could be a big issue. And like you said, Jonathan Brooks is a great value, who's a phenomenal stash for next season, and a very dark horse for him here is Adonai Mitchell. He's got a lot of run with the starters this year. He's looked pretty good so far. The Colts are going to be hot and cold, but Adonai Mitchell, or Adonia Mitchell, as Bell pronounced it, um, he should be having some huge weeks. It's just trying to figure out where you're going to start him.
Yeah, well, you know, I know that you're not high on him because of your stack, so there you go. I might be a little fucking biased, bro.
That's still points for my QB. So I'm rooting for the kid.
Okay, what's next? Yeah, oh, are we done with that guy? Are we done with Brian? Those were all three? Sorry,
Yeah,
okay,
I think
okay, perfect. We're moving on. You've got Golden Shower next, bro.
golden
Yeah,
shower.
yeah.
Okay. Just give
Golden
me a
Shower
sec.
is coming in at 6 there, buddy. So you are up.
Yeah. Um, Here's another one. It's like you said at the beginning, it's pretty tough to poke holes in the teams this early in the season. So I called Kyle's team the butter bean. It's top heavy, it's soft in the middle, and you want to make fun of them, but at the end of the day, you don't want to fuck with butterbean. Now, that's at the beginning of the fight. Later on, if you can outlast them, the butterbean is going to be huffing and puffing. So we got A Chain, we got Waddle, we got Jamison Williams. All of them are huge injury concerns. There will be a ton of waiver pickups and trades for Kyle again this year. So he's a mover and a shaker. And
And Kyle, just so you know, we do appreciate your moving and shaking because everybody in this fucking league is so tight with their players. Everybody like thinks that they got great value. Mostly you think you have great value, Kyle. Some of the fucking offers you've thrown me over the years has just been like super gross, but that's fine. Uh, so bro, what was his reach, I guess you're starting with?
yeah, Kyle will give you a dried up turd on a plate and tell you it's a piece of gold.
Mhm.
His biggest reach was Ramondre Stevenson in the fourth. He's a feature back, but I think he's going to have some trouble, some tough sledding through the Patriots offensive line. Things aren't looking good there. The best value comes around after that with Brian Robinson Jr. Again, I think the Commanders are revamped, and he'll have more room to run with a quarterback that's runs around like Jaden Daniels, is it?
Mhm.
And he'll get lots of goal line opportunities. So I really like Brian Robinson Jr. this year. The dark horse for Kyle is Trevor Lawrence. He was he was a little bit banged up last year, and I think that really affected his timing and accuracy. And I think he's got potential to crack the top 10 He's got some new weapons there. So, yeah, Kyle's looking pretty strong to start the year. We'll see how it ends.
Oh, yeah, Kyle, you actually made it past round 4 this year, which was nice. We didn't have to bring you to the board to go pick your players, and usually your team after round 4 looks a little suspect, and that's probably why you do all that moving and shaking and everything you do. But I'm gonna just say I think Golden Shower's got. I think you actually got the full course meal this year, bud. Uh, Usually you just got the appetizers, because you don't stick around. You kind of drift off, but this year you stepped up. So there we are. I look forward to seeing your first deal that you send me. Are we done with that one, Neil?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on to Swallower here. Coming in this is like such a Rob position to be in, isn't it? Like coming in at 5th, isn't it?
Not quite the best, but
Yeah,
not
but
bad either.
yeah, like it's a Rob position, and it's kind of this, like this. You always show up, Rob, to the draft, um, and draft a decent team, and I think very, very on the top, first of the list. I think we have you as the first champion of the list. Maybe it's for time for champs part 2 for you. Okay. You're coming in at 5th on the PFF, or what, grading machine, or whatever the hell that thing Ian had was. And I feel like your reach for me was I don't disagree with the player. I like the player. Just Jalen Warren in round 5. Um, I that whole Steelers team just worries me, and it's just, there's a QB battle going on. They did improve the O line, which is great. Okay, they're gonna have to run, and they're gonna have to run some more. But there's no wide receiver past Pickens there. So if I was another team, I'd just be stacking the shit out of that box. Okay. They're lacking a QB. They got one injured. They got another one who's sort of injured. So again,
They've already got injuries on the O line.
yeah.
They're having trouble. Yeah.
So you're moving on to your dark horse. For me, it's Vidal of the Chargers. Uh, and I was doing a lot of best ball this year, and he'd be the guy, be sneaking in late, because the running backs in front of this guy, they did bring them in. They're broken and they're old. Okay, so Fidel actually showed up in the preseason. There was a preseason game where he champed out on TV. So let's see what this kid can do. He looks awesome. Your best value for me is actually the Browns DST in round 9. I love it. There's some DSTs picked before this. This is one of the best defensive units in football, and they will carry you into the playoffs. As I think you usually get there, Rob. I think you usually get into the playoffs. And unfortunately, in the playoffs, you usually fizzle out. And unfortunately, in the playoffs, for your value team here, KC is week 15. Then it's Cincy. Then it's Miami, which is a little bit of yikes. But they start off with Dallas, and then they have a really plush schedule. So it should get you somewhere. Neal, do you have any thoughts on Rob's team here?
This is the best I've seen Rob draft since I've been in the league. I mean, listen to this. Tyreek Hill, Nico Collins, Malik Neighbors,
Mm-hmm.
Brock Bowers should be a stud. He's got
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Smith and Jigba on his bench. I'm predicting big things for Rob this year, and it's too
Yeah.
bad his quarterback, his leg is a piece of fucking broken spaghetti. But
That didn't look good.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Didn't you say the
so
word flopping around?
yeah, and so the final thought, I kind of feel like, you got a strong team to make the playoffs, Rob, as you usually do. And then it hits midnight and you usually turn into a pumpkin. So it'd be great if you avoid the pumpkin stage this year. God. So we're gonna move on to my next guy here, or our next guy on the ranking that the champ gave us. Ian gave us this ranking. Don't forget that. Okay, this wasn't an Eberly ranking, so we blame this on Ian. Is Nice Guys coming in at fourth? This is a quiet guy league. Uh, and the unfortunate part is there we are drafting, and you're not saying much, Scott, and you're quietly sitting there sucking on a 7-Up can, and we don't notice how sober you are, so that you can focus and pick a good team. Don't think that we don't notice that you're sitting there trying to really, really focus and not get drunk. So we do notice that.
Everybody sees you taking, yeah, everybody sees him taking his pre-workout,
Yeah,
his
but
ginkgo
before,
biloba and all of that shit.
yeah, pre-workout before cornhole. Like the guy's an athlete. So my biggest reach for you, uh, Scotty, is Dallas Goddard. You could have picked him up in round 11, and I would told you it was a fucking reach. Okay. I am not a fan of this player. He's been targeted something like 7 times in the end zone in the last 3 years. I've had him for 2 years in a row. He is a dud. And with, like, if you think about it and how many good players are on this team, okay, you got 2 elite wide receivers, and then holy, how did that running back look? Whew, whew. He looked great. I think he scored on a passing TD too, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. Uh, so why would you throw to that slow white dud? I don't even know. Dark horse for me is Javonte Williams. Uh, this kid's 2 years removed from his knee injury, and people thought Peyton might get rid of him, and I think then Sean Payton saw how he was performing, and I think he's the front runner, workhorse back of this team. He might get spelled out a little bit, but yeah. So I think you got a really good one there, and you got him late. Uh, your value pick to me is Tua in round 6. I believe Tua got paid, didn't he?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
He got paid. He got paid for a reason. Okay, he always starts out hot and then fizzles. But I think this is the year that he turns it around. Okay, and I got to move through these values pretty quick because I actually have a second value for Scott, and that's Brian Thomas Jr. Right
That's
at
my
the
favorite pick of his. That's a
Yeah,
fantastic pick.
yeah, right at the end. He's a starting wide receiver. He's a starting wide receiver for a great QB. And in 2 wide receiver sets, he's out there, over Christian Kirk. So, okay.
And he runs a 4.3340. The
Yeah,
guy's
he's a beast.
he's a
He's a beast.
blazer.
Do you have any thoughts on this team, Neal?
No, I was just gonna mention Brian Thomas Jr., but you covered that pretty
Mm.
good. I do love Taylor this year. I think he's gonna have a lot of running lanes. People are gonna have to either pay attention to Anthony Richardson or Jonathan Taylor. I think Taylor benefits from that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so because I think this is the trap team. I think like Scotty's kind of laid the sticks and the moss over the hole, right? And you're not going to see it coming. You're going to go play him, and he's just going to quietly you're going to fall into the trap and lose to this guy. So I really do think Scotty's the trap team of the year. Like, so that's where I'm at that. And watch out when you play this team. And I gotta keep rocking and rolling here. So Neil, if any time that you can step in because we're looking at or actually, or is it you? No, it's your turn to go.
Yeah. Before we get kind of started on you, I think we should mention the hats. Check
Oh,
out our new swag.
yeah,
Bro, do you
no.
have a shout out you want to give? Like, do you have who's your guy?
Oh no, he's in Vancouver. I keep my hat company my clothing company pretty quiet because I don't want him to get too busy.
Oh, I see. You don't want to tell people.
No, no.
Well,
No, it's like
I just want to say, it's very tough for me to find a hat that fits this giant peanut head well, and it makes me look good. So, good job on the hats, whoever you are. Well
yeah,
done.
and we got a smashing logo too. I think that's really uh somehow that developed over the years. So there we are.
Somebody spent some time on that.
Mhm.
Okay, so commish.
I'm not the commish, you're the commish.
Okay, fleshlight, fleshlight. Uh, it looks like you have no weaknesses, brother. I call it the fear and loathing in Las Vegas. You have all the things you need for your road trip, all the drugs you could ever want. You got your quarterbacks, you got two of them. You got James Cook, Kyron Williams, you got Cooper Kupp, Rashid Rice. Even your tight end should produce big. But the way the last 2 years have gone for you, brother, I could see you opening up your stash to celebrate and your playoff hopes billow into the wind.
Yeah,
So
don't get high on your own supply,
that's
man.
right.
And you're already talking about my QBs, and I'm looking at the time right now, and I'm getting worried that I have to go on and shift some players out.
Yeah, yeah. So let's wait a bit before we give you any flowers. If I had to pick biggest reach, I guess it would be Burrow. There's still a few question marks with his injury and the Jamar Chase holdout thing. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Still got
I
3
can't argue with you, man. Like I just said, I might have to actually go switch in Lad McConkey and Goff right now, just right before these games start, because I don't want Burrow if he's throwing to who the fuck's he throwing to?
Well, that brings me to I guess my dark horse for you is Jared Goff. You got him in the 7th, and most of his games are indoors. He might actually end up starting for you if everything goes sideways in Cincy. He's got tons of weapons, good offensive line. Um, fuck, I'd start him.
No.
Best value, actually, I think, is your tight end. You got him in the 10th round. He should be number 2 in targets on his team. And I think Russell Wilson or Justin Fields is going to be looking to get rid of the ball quickly. So breakout season coming for the Muth, I think.
Yeah, we'll see if the fucking OC can actually figure it out, because he used a pretty heavy rotation of tight ends and he couldn't figure out how to use Kyle Pitts.
Dear
So
God,
right. So let's see.
painful. But it looks good for you, brother. If I was giving stingers, I give you 5 stingers.
Nice. Nice. Um, did you go through all 3?
I did.
Thanks. Okay, cool. Awesome. So let's move on. Let's get these last freaking two guys here. Holy moly. And these two guys, they win a lot. So it kind of sucks. And we got Janet coming in at number 2 here. And James, you've like, you're not even on our chat or anything anymore. You're kind of falling off there. And you've kind of, you show up and you've officially become the grumpy guy of the league. You are the Bill Belichick of the league. You show up, you just talk in kind of a monotone voice. You don't smile a lot, and you just win championships. It's actually kind of lame. So, like, screw you.
Brighten it up a little bit, Bailey.
Yeah,
Got the-
come on, man.
got
So,
the
your biggest reach for me,
grumpy dad of the league.
yeah, kind of the reach for me is Calvin Ridley in the 4th. And, all I got to say is who's throwing him the ball. That I don't even have to say anything more than that, right? I think that guy just drops back. He's got a hell of a gun, that QB. Drops back, closes his eyes, and lets it fling, and he hopes for the best. So, that didn't really work with Calvin Ridley last year, so I don't think it's going to work with him this year. Dark horse. I love this pick. Rico Dowdle in the 9th. They're gonna run the ball. I love this pick. Dak has one guy to throw to. He's got to hand it off at some point. Dallas always has a great O-line. They're not handing it off to slow ass Zeke. I just think it's a great pick. It's a great pick, James.
Zeke is there to block. That's what he's there to do. And I think Dowdle is. I was actually pissed. I was hoping to draft him, but
yeah. And value pick here. I feel like Shakir in the 10th.
yeah.
Most people don't even know who they're going to throw to in Buffalo. They haven't figured it out. Allen has to throw. He's one of the best QBs in the league. He's got to throw to somebody other than his tight end. And this is the guy he had at the end of the year, had the most connection with as he was finishing. And so let's see. I bet this is going to happen all year. I picked this guy a lot in best ball, and I think it's gonna go down. Do you have any more thoughts on this, Neal?
I'm still not understanding how he ended up with Laporta.
Yeah, well, let's see Laporta repeat, and how much do tight ends actually score in our league anyways. Okay.
famous last words.
Okay, so my final thought on this team is, James, I'd really like you to take us to dinner first before you fuck us with your team. So, maybe seriously, maybe a nice steak and a glass of wine to go along with the ass ring you're about to give us every week would be really nice. Okay. So James, Janet, you came in at number 2 here. All right. Now, it's really weird that the guy with the computer program that gave us all these this draft order and how we did came in first. And I'm changing this guy's name because I went biking with him yesterday, and maybe you guys haven't noticed, but we just did 125 kilometers up to Whistler yesterday. Everybody was destroyed. The heat was effed. And this guy takes off his first of all, he's a beast on the bike. It didn't phase him at all. We get to the end. He takes off his cycling helmet. Okay, if you've ever seen hair out of a cycling helmet, it just goes crazy. He takes off his helmet and he's got perfect hair. Have you guys noticed that yet? And so I'm changing this guy's name, team name. We're gonna call him Sam Malone from now on. And from
Ian,
Cheers.
yeah,
His
Ian's I don't know, it seems like he's jumped ahead 1,000 years in evolution or something.
Yeah, and honestly, Hiltz, we're tired of you. We're tired of you. Ever since I brought you into the league and you showed up with your duotang, you've done nothing but win.
We talked
We're
about this. We're supposed to bring in stupid guys.
yeah, like that's why you brought Garry back. So you're 2 years in a row, you're the champ, and now you come in with the #1 rated draft. Fuck you and your perfect hair, Sam Malone. Your reach. I'm looking for your reach on your team. Guess what? There isn't one. There isn't. You drafted the perfect team in the perfect order, just like your perfect freaking hair. Okay, and I actually really mean that. It's not just me just blowing fluff. Your dark horse for me is Najokes. Okay. Last 4 games of the year last year, this guy was, I think, like one of the top tight ends. You might have been #1. It was actually pretty crazy how good he was doing. And you got him in round 9. That sucks for the rest of us. Uh, best your value pick. Uh, you have Kyler. You have Kyler Murray. You didn't have to go get Brock Purdy in round 7. You didn't. You didn't, but you did.
I heard
And
a lot of groaning after that
ah,
pick.
fine.
There was a lot of guys that wanted that.
Yeah. So Purdy was the 5th scoring QB in our league last year. Like that's pretty crazy. Now he's got his whole squad all signed up, ready to go. If somehow Kyler Murray becomes a dud and he's too busy playing video games, this kid really wants to win. He really wants to win. And like
After this week, Brock Purdy has one of the easiest schedules throughout the year
yeah.
after the Jets.
So, even his parents are good looking. Like it's like so here's do you have any more thoughts on this team?
I don't. I kind of see it the same way you do. The only thing that I could look at that's a bit of a problem would be Aaron Jones, but you can ditch him after a couple weeks, and everything else is just it's just a piss off, is what
Yeah.
it is.
Okay. So my, I just kind of got a thought on this. Ian, you and your perfect hair, your hot wife that makes a fortune, your 2 champs in a row, and then this is not even. Then you go and steal the QB 54 for yourself. Okay. We know that it wasn't Garry that won that. So, we've had enough of you, Sam Malone. I actually thought I liked you at some point. I, you know, I don't, I don't even like you. You even crushed me on the bike yesterday. Just like I was going into a dark, dark place and you were just going along like nothing was happening. So, F you, Sam Malone. I could see you in line I could see you in line like the Chiefs looking for a three-peat.
What do we say? Why don't we say, um, if you win 3 in a row,
You're out.
you're out. You're you're eliminated.
You're eliminated from the league.
Yeah.
Uh, fellas, that's it. Those are our judgy picks. I assume most of you you're not going to go through this whole thing, but just click on your link. Where I'm going to post these up uh, during the games. I gotta go check I gotta go. Oh, it's 9:35 right now. I gotta go check my team to see if to see if Jamar is even playing. Brother, another great podcast with you. Thanks for jumping in here on a Sunday morning right before the league starts. And I see you've really worked on your background there, bro. You're
Well, yeah, as you can see, I put up a flowery blanket
yeah, I saw
over
that.
all of the garbage.
Mhm.
So we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there, you know. All I gotta say is go Hawks today, and fellas, look forward to the banter. You know, mostly from Steve telling us how great he is. And Neal, any final thoughts?
I I don't have any final thoughts, but I think we should go take a quick look at our teams and make sure that Jamar Chase isn't in a nail salon somewhere. Um, yeah, good luck, everybody.
Okay,
Uh,
guys.
the only opinion that matters is ours. So you all suck, except for Ian, of course.
And
And yeah, let's
unfortunately,
hope we can make it through.
unfortunately, Janet's right up there too.
Unfortunately, let's hope we can make it through week one without any injuries.
Except for all your guys' teams. Okay. All
Okay.
right, guys. Thanks a lot.